time is right. No cloud in the sky, and the fruit.
Alright guys, so as I promised on my last Homebrew Wednesday, here's a full glass of my Imperial Stout in my Stone Russian Imperial Stout glass. So apropos, as you see here is a nice, slightly creamy. There's a lot of big bubbles and small bubbles on the top of that half of my vigorous pour that you saw. But as you see in the head, it's a mixture of big bubbles and small bubbles. We'll see how long that sticks around, but again, just wanted to tell you that it smells even better when it's colder and it's, and it's in a full glass. And a lot more dark chocolate right off the bat, and less hops, more dark fruit, and just an overall awesome beer. So cheers, and I hope you enjoy the updates. Hey BrewTubers, Barry here. So for this brew day, again, I still haven't gotten a new tripod, so I'm going to do most of it log style. And for at least this part, which is towards the end of the mash and the first vorlauf, it'll probably be easier to do it log style anyway. So here's what we got. So we're at the end of the mash. We're about 65 minutes. And the whole time, after I followed my usual mashing process of preheating the mash tun, mashing and I've done spot checks with my usual thermometer, and and gave the mash a quick stir a few times during the mash. It only lost, according to the thermometer on the mash tun, about a couple degrees, maybe a little less, which is still fine because I wanted it to end up between 150 and 148 for the whole mash. So it started off about 151, and then once it equaled out after 10-15 minutes, it had lost almost a whole degree, but it was equaling out. So maybe it lost a little more than 1 degree overall. So as you see here, it's at 149.1, and the last time I checked inside, it was also like 148, maybe a touch over that. So it's pretty much on par. So what now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the vorlauf, so I can quickly put my thermometer down and take off my lid from the mash tun and put on my usual vorlauf pan. I did get a good amount of grain in that first pull, so instead of using my usual Pyrex measuring cup, I got this bigger cheap plastic jug, so it'll be easier to collect runnings now. The one thing I actually do want to note is that, as you see, through the vorlauf, I went up about half a degree or so, maybe a 0.6 of a degree. So I should just note with this mash tun that kind of pulling out from the bottom kind of evens out the whole mash in terms of temperature. So I didn't really lose as much as I thought. So overall, a pretty good performance by the mash tun. And then as you see, there's some grain pieces in there, but that's just from the bottom, so it's a nice reddish brown, amber color to start off with. Hey guys, so the runoff took really long, but I did that purposely because I was really scared about controlling the flow rate on my new mash tun, my SS mash tun. So I'll show you in the picture if my refractometer hit my numbers on the dot without any of the sugar, which I'll talk about again later once I'm adding it. My pre-boil gravity, I have just over 14 pounds of grain, was supposed to be 1060, and I hit it right on the money. But I did collect, instead of 7.25 gallons, I collected like just over 7, as you can see, I hope maybe even see there, in my SS kettle. I didn't end up using the sparge arm because I only had like maybe 2 gallons or so of sparge water to start. But I ended up using more sparge water than that, but I still was having trouble rigging it up and didn't really find it, that it would help me. So I just took it extra slow, using, of course, my new quick disconnects, and my usual sparge or slash roll off. So as you see here, it's a nice, very moist, level grain bed. So I was able to, keep it, nice and moist. So that's good. But otherwise, we hit our numbers, and I'm looking forward to take you on the ride for the rest of the brew day. Cheers.
So, won't you fill my cup with some more of that sweet stuff? I've got sugar on my mind.
Alright guys, so we're here for the last hop edition and the sugar edition for this boil. I should note that I'm adding a combination of D180 candy syrup, D90 candy syrup, and Demerara sugar. And for all those who don't know, the Demerara sugar is a light brown sugar. It's a little less processed than your normal, like, Domino light brown sugar you would buy in the box. So the first thing I'm gonna do before I'm gonna add the last half ounce of Hallertau Middle Fruit to the boil. So in total, I added about 2.6 ounces of hops. For a big beer like this, with so yeast forward, you want to keep the hop amount low. And then I'm gonna take these about 4.5–5 ounces of Demerara. You see, it's nice, bigger than your usual brown sugar, and toss it in and give it a nice stir, just to dissolve that. It's like DME, it's not going to really sink to the bottom if it's so light, but in order to prevent it from scorching at the bottom and take some like burnt caramel instead of maybe a light molasses, you want to give it a nice stir, to stir it in. And last but not least is the D180. So I'm going to add the pound of D180, which is premium extra dark candy syrup, which is made out of beet sugar, date sugar, and water. I'm going to add this to the boil, and the D90 and the second 4 to 5 ounces of the Demerara is going to be added later, about day 3 or 4 of fermentation, to keep it nice and active. So it comes in these nice nifty pouches. So I'm just going to pour and stir very vigorously, so that it doesn't sink too much to the bottom and burn. Alright guys, hey, Barry here for the last part of the brew day video, before of course pitching the yeast and showing you the beginning of fermentation. So I should have pointed out earlier, as usual, during brew days I'm sporting my Brewminaries t-shirt. And in this video you'll see that I use my Brewminaries glass from our first ever event, our Oktoberfest event called Prost. I use that to weigh out the hops, as you'll see. And right now we're here by my yeast starter, which last night I was busy, as you may have seen, bottling my Brett / apricot imperial rye saison. So by the time I was going to start making my starter, it was too late. So I made it this morning as I was getting the mash started. So an 18-hour mark, which I usually like to give it at least 18 hours, is at about 3 or 4 in the morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to decant this time, because of course I don't want to leave the wort too long without the yeast in it. So I'm going to have to take out some wort, as you'll see in a minute, to make room for that. And I should note, even though you'll see the recipe in this blog post, that I have here, I don't know if you can see, 2 packets of the Trappist high gravity yeast. Some say is the Rochefort or the Westmalle, one of the two. I'm pretty sure it's Westmalle. So this was packaged on the 25th of September of 15. So it's pretty darn fresh at the time of brewing. It's about 18 days old or so, 16 to 18 days old. So it's pretty fresh, but I still used 2 packets just to make sure I had more than enough yeast. and I pitched it into a 2.2 liter starter for your notes. In terms of numbers, we did hit our numbers. We were going for without the other half of the Demerara, which was another 4 to 5 ounces, and the pound of D90 syrup. We were supposed to get 1078, and we got, as you'll see in the picture here, 1077, 1078 in that range. So for me, that's definitely hitting my numbers, especially with only my second brew on my new mash tun and my third brew on the new kettle. So I'll flip you around here and take you into the kitchen. So as you see here, I have the wort in my sanitized carboy, and I collected about 5.7 gallons, which is too much. So I'm gonna have to use my beer thief to kind of slowly take out, you know, a good, at least until like the 5.2 mark maybe, or the 5 mark. I don't know what I'll do with the wort, but you know, but that's just what happened with this, because I didn't stop it on time when I was collecting from the kettle to the carboy. So I'll show you inside the kettle now. And as you see here, while I didn't whirlpool, I hope you could see in this light that the hop dam did really block away a lot of the hops, and with the chiller in there, most of the hops are actually towards the back and middle of the kettle instead of closer to the pickup tube or the tube dam. So
long time gone, it's a long time running, so you better